Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to our Phase One customers and partners. I'm Philip Moffett, Geospatial Director for the Americas, and today we're having a fireside chat. We're going to review the geospatial business in 2020 and also get a sneak peek of what's going on, what we have in store for 2021. Joining me are the sales VPs of the key regions for geospatial, Steve Cooper of the Americas.
Hey, good morning, Phil, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone, all the Phase One customers and partners around the world. Morning.
As well as just across the pond over in lovely Germany, Matthias Motz for EMEA.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. A warm welcome from Germany. Here it's afternoon, so in the US it's early morning. So nice to have you here.
Now, as many of you know, unfortunately, Germany is quite locked down at the moment. So if Matthias's video or audio has any issues, it's because everyone's watching Netflix over there right now. So we're going to get through it either way. So also, if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer those at the end of our Q&A here alongside the fire. So let's get started with the first question. I'm going to talk to Steve first, I believe, for this one. What was the most outstanding thing that happened in 2020?
Oh, right, okay, so 2020 is, it's been an interesting year, I would say that. I think probably the most fun thing for me has been the in-flight aerial tour. So we obviously had everything planned for going and seeing customers with our new PAS system, and we had a lot of customers booked. And obviously we had to cancel it in sort of March, April time for obvious reasons. What I was really pleased of was we then still managed to do it. So in the second half of the year, we found a couple of nice little airports. We changed the whole structure, so it was a small plane of ours going in to see people. We borrowed a plane from a couple of partners where we couldn't get ours to, etc. So I think the very first one was in Las Vegas, where we went there. Everything was sort of all socially distancing. We made sure the customers came in at the right time. We organized all the cleaning at the right time. So everything worked perfectly. And we saw a huge amount of customers in that 3-week period. That to me was just great to see how the aerial and imagery community came together in a bad way, still to see products, still out there working, allowing us to see them in a safe way. And some of the images we got were fantastic. It was really, really good to see things live, going on real jobs with customers, helping them with certain things. So that to me was one of our biggest success stories for me. And that's what I found most enjoyable. Yeah.
Fantastic. I thought you were going to say when I joined.
Oh, well, obviously, that's a given. I didn't even need to mention that one, surely. Yeah.
I'm 6 weeks in, having a blast. It's a wonderful team, and excited for 2021. I'm going to ask the same thing to Matthias. Most outstanding thing that happened in 2020 in your region?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I have to also say similar things here. I mean, this complete situation, I mean, the most outstanding thing was for me how fast people adapted to this new situation, not being able to travel, and not only from a supplier point of view, but also from a customer point of view. So the adaptation just happened very quickly to this new situation, and we saw only very little influences in our sales, and it was really good to see how fast they could adapt. And other than that, I had some great add-ons to my team, so the team get bigger, and it was just good to see our growing business here.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. We have many new customer use cases and applications. What is your most exciting, interesting application?
Matthias, do you mind if I jump in on this one? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think this year, I think the first sort of 9 months, obviously with the restructure of Phase One, where it is now the imaging company, it doesn't matter whether it's geospatial, digitization, art, etc. I think for the first 9 months, obviously I was fully concentrated on geospatial. So that was always exciting. It's nice seeing, the new adaptation of the customers. They're doing new jobs. They're, there is a silver lining that there's not much travel, so there's a lot more space in the air. So our customers, our traditional area customers, can get out there and fly a lot more. They're getting more time, they're getting into more spaces that we wouldn't allow to before. So I can see those things coming a lot quicker. So they're needing, you know, very quick turnaround time because they're just doing a lot more work. That's been exciting. Also this year, the digital representation. So working with a company here in the US is Digital Transitions. I've thoroughly enjoyed working with them to see their new case studies. So looking at, you know, documents are falling apart and they need to be, you know, they need to record it somehow. And there's so many of those in the world. I've always had an interest in that, but never really been involved a lot. So that is a really nice user case. So just seeing how that reproduction, digital reproduction for archiving, for fantastic art, that sort of stuff, that has been very, very interesting to see how much is out there, how poor a state some of it is, and how we need to archive it. That has been really, really interesting. That's one of my most enjoyable things I've done in the past sort of 6-7 months. And in the last 3 months, speaking to pure photographers again. People are doing this as a pure passion and creating art. You know, we sort of forget that. I think, Matthias, you know, you and I, our history is photography from aerial. So, you know, the image is, it's nice, but it's not the all important thing. It's the end result and how we get that solution all the way across. But then seeing it with a pure photographer, that the image is the art, that is the end piece. That, I love it. You know, I've got a couple of new pieces up on my wall that is pure art from imagery. So that I've found the most exciting at the moment. Yeah.
Right. Rather it being not just traditional photography, but also even geomatic images.
Yes.
that we have.
Yeah,
Nice, right?
yeah, geomatic art is. I know it'll be a new phrase, but yeah,
That's right.
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. Matthias, anything you'd like to add on that question about use cases?
Well, yes, and I, if I go a little bit more into detail, I mean, I know Steve is disagreeing on that with me, but we in EMEA, if you look on the application side, we really see a very nice application coming up in precision agriculture. And it's not about this wide area mapping. It's really about crop analysis, crop engineering, and these sort of things. And this is very exciting to see for me as a newbie in this kind of business or application. So that's very interesting. Certainly, this data are gathered from UAVs, so in very low flying heights. But this is a very interesting field. And then,
yeah,
on the other hand,
agree with Matthias. I think, Matthias, you and I know that we often disagree about the probably the precision agricultural business in compared to Europe and US. But I think that is purely down to, you know, here in the US, it's very large areas. So it's not smaller companies, but fewer companies needing to do these really large areas. Whereas, yes, I agree, in Europe, it is smaller land parcels. It needs to be more detailed. So we do disagree often. But what I love about that is we use the same product that we're using into the different applications in a different way for each region. So that's another thing I love about working with Matthias, is that we argue about a fine detail, but realize that with our products, we can solve both issues in different regions. Do you think that's correct, Matthias?
it's absolutely correct. And the other application or image quality kind of thing I would like to mention is really what we see here is, and that's the same in US. It's a request for millimeter GSTs and millimeter accuracies in the inspection and maintenance business. If you look at bridges, track rails, rail tracks, whatever, they are not looking into centimeters anymore. They are looking into millimeters. And I will show you some images later where you can see that it's just a fantastic quality, not only in radiometry, but also in geometry. And again, this is coming back to our fantastic products, which simply can deliver this kind of data quality.
Yeah,
perfect. So speaking of the output, whether geomatic or creative photography, we've got some favorite images for each of you guys, and we're going to start with Matthias. And Matthias, give us a little background on these images.
I can't see it right now.
Yeah, this image showing on the screen, Matthias, is one of your favorite ones, which I believe is in Germany.
Now I can see it. Thank you. Yeah. So this is a 2 centimeter GSD image from our new PAS 280. This is flown over the city of Speyer in Germany. Again, 2 centimeter GSD, and if you zoom in to this roof on the church, for example, with these very small roof tiles, I think it gives a great impression of the geometric accuracy. And if you look into the shadowing areas, it gives you also a great impression about the radiometric accuracy. So again, this is taken from a PAS 280, 2 centimeter GSD, and it just shows the quality of our fantastic product.
I have to say that's also brings some memories. That's Speyer, did you say, in Germany?
It's Speyer, yeah. It's flown with our partner GGS.
Yeah, I know. I am not joking. I just remember the Speyer, seeing that from a hotel room where I stayed with Carsten, visiting Gerhard all those years ago. So nice bit of memory for me too. That image.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next image.
Yeah, this is probably mine. I think this is again, this is an aerial image for a 150 megapixel full band. This was also a PAS. This was with a customer of ours, Eagle Forestry. I just love this image. This was just one of the when Terry went to do the install and the training on this. This was flown over a particular area. I just love the quality and the detail of this image. And this was just as we were going with the test, I believe. I just love the vibrant colors, but it's a mixture to me. This is art. This is close to art, but being a production solution. So, you know, this is the full band imagery showing the health of the vegetation along the river to check pollution, etc.
Yeah, I think that's in Mississippi.
Yeah, it is Mississippi. Yeah, you're correct. And I just love everything about it. Is that it's showing the the high shutter speed, because you can see the wake from the barge, and you can really zoom into the barge and see the individual items on there. You can then move across and see the water with the contrast between the dark blue water, the white, and then obviously the false color in the full band. It's just one of those images. I have that as my screensaver now. I've done it for a couple of months, and I've not got bored of that one. Yes. Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to the third image. It may take a moment, but this is one for Matthias.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. I mean, this was taken, I think, 15 or 20 meters away from the windmill, and the GSD is 1 millimeter. And it's just incredible how you can detect scratches or whatever problems. It's just very nice and very useful. It was also flown in combination with a kind of prototype distance meter to adjust the autofocus of our camera, which worked pretty nice. So that's also a nice tool coming up. But again, I mean, this millimeter accuracy thing is just fantastic, and I love to zoom into this imagery.
Yeah, I have to say, Matthias, I like the idea of this one, because this is obviously, the one on the left is the very large footprint of everything, and then you literally use your screen to go around to check the millimeter GSD. I think that's fabulous. I mean, if you did that with another camera, I just don't even want to know how many images you would have to do to get that sort of detail with one of our images. And I think this is the point of coming back to return on investment. The less images that you can take in the air, and then do the post-processing or the checking afterwards when you're warm and dry, and not having to be out there, and relying that that you can go up there and take your 10 images and everything's covered. I think that's really exciting. Yeah, I like that one, Matthias.
Yeah, more efficient operation. Right?
Yeah.
Especially in something with wind turbines. I've done a bit of that, and it is challenging, especially with such a lack of contrast.
Yeah.
Depending on the sky that day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the whole target being white.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are learning pretty quickly, I have to say.
Yeah.
We got a few of those over here too.
Good sales pitch.
That's very true. Oh, this is, I wondered why you asked me for a load of my images. So this was actually from the in-flight aerial tour. So this was moving from, I can't remember, it was Las Vegas to the second stop, but I can't remember. There was too many of them. But this was simply a transit flight from one stop to another. And Kevin, I think, was in the back, just sort of looking out the window, saw the graveyard or the boneyard, I can never remember what it's called, flying across, going, quick, Terry, look at this, how cool is this? And Terry just quickly went, oh, right, click, 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 click. And that's how quick it was. This was just in a routine transit flight, took the images, and that on the left, I think, is actually cropped. I believe the full frame, because again, this was the 280 image, that was obviously a lot bigger. And we've just taken a few crops into each one. And you can see that was just 2 centimeter ESD. That was flying at a cruising flight. So that must have been 130, 140 knots. And just click, click, click. And that's pretty cool. That's getting close to art again.
It looks planned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we have.
Additionally, we don't have these graveyards in Europe, so we can't even take these images.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I think this is another one of yours, Matthias. Yep.
Just a second.
Of the rail.
But it's yeah. Now I can see it. So it's a rail track image again. It's just impressive. 1 millimeter GSD. And also for rail inspections, it's counts what we said earlier. So you just have less imagery. You have a reduced time of work by using this kind of cameras, and it just gives you an incredible quality, an incredible view of the details in this rail tracks, for example. So this is
that's phenomenal. What height was that?
It was 23 meters. So again, UAV application, 1 millimeter, 23 meters. But yeah, you see the result, and it's just impressive.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. That looks very close to being a scan to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got one last one here.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh yeah, now that's this was a collage that we did a while ago. I like the way that you've crowbarred this one in. This is like a little montage of our team meeting that we did as Phase One in January. So as you can tell, that's Iceland. That's just a few of our team that are going through. So we went to obviously Reykjavik and the Blue Lagoon, and we had a bit of fun. That was quite nice. That was in January for what we normally do at the beginning of the year for our sales plans to, get everyone together. So that's with our team in HQ. You can even see our CEO there, Hendrik, in the middle at one of the dinners. And Matthias, can you remember the top left one? Sitting outside that bus for goodness knows how long in minus 120 degrees, waiting for that 0.1 of a second to get that image. Yeah.
Yes, I remember it, and I have to say I haven't seen this Nordic Lights, so I wonder how you did this. That's now a little bit interesting to me.
Well, as we said about art and how you can make images and you can do things that you can't see with the naked eye. That's all I can say, Matthias. Yeah. You need some more training on how to use a camera for things that you can't see with your eye. Yeah.
Okay, well done.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah. So Phil, would you like to explain what this means about image of the month? Because this is something new we want to do, isn't it?
Yeah, image of the month. For anyone out there, honestly, whether it's in the geospatial space or in our bespoke photography, anyone that's using a Phase One camera can take an image basically anything that they find very interesting, as much as these guys have explained their favorite images. And we're going to have those presented and promote those based on kind of a voting system on which one's going to be the most interesting, that we'll then promote on through some campaigns, like, through social media, a variety of the way we normally do. Of course, we'll need full approval for that use, but outside of that, we're going to have that for each month starting in 2021. And then we have some other ideas that we may do and extend that our favorite images and formulate it in another way, which we can talk about maybe.
Okay, cool. Okay, sorry for interrupting there, but yeah, I think it'd be nice for everyone to send what they think is their favorite image as they're going through the month. So January all the way through. That's but obviously Phil's going to explain that later on. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
one question from my side: is this restricted to our geo business, or also open for cultural heritage, for example?
Yeah, everything.
Everything.
Anyone who's using a Phase One camera seems to be a good idea. Yeah.
yes, exactly. However you obtain a Phase One camera, you're welcome to make an image.
Perfect.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to a few more questions here during our fireside chat. So speaking of something monthly, we had a series of monthly webinars this year. And what we'd like to know is, which webinar was your favorite? We'll start with Steve.
Oh, come on, Matthias, you go first.
Yeah, okay.
We have done how many? 12, 14 webinars this year. And I guess every webinar was somehow successful. We saw, especially during the first lockdown, an increasing number of attendees in the webinars. So people started to use this kind of media to gather more information from us, which was great. But in fact, there is not a favorite webinar or most successful one. Certainly, we had some with more attendance, some with less. We see a trend that the ones which we do together with partners are a little bit more attractive. And we take these numbers very serious, and we will adapt our webinar offers in 2021 for sure, in order to meet these requests from the attendance.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think I wanted Matthias to start first so I could have some thoughts while he was talking. But I agree with Matthias. We've done a lot, and I think they've evolved a heck of an amount when we started in January. I know we did some the year before, but I think we really started in earnest in January. I mean, Matthias, I think, as you say, the ones with the partners have always been very good at talking about specific user cases. There's too many to mention. There's all of the Regals and Altex, etc. There's quite a lot of those that went on. I really liked the ones which were like how to do something. So, and we even did them with a mixture of partners. So I think obviously GGS, which you remember before, talking about how they used oblique imagery, Air Supply, talking about how they connected a camera through gimbals on UAVs. I think we had one from Carsten, our own Carsten, talking about how to get rid of shadows in processing images. I liked those, but I think we have to also say is that it doesn't really matter what we liked and how we thought it was. It is down to the customers. So I think for next year, I think it's very crucial that we get some sort of poll with our customers of saying, what do they want to see next year? How long the lockdown happens down, how long we continue to do these things for. I think we can certainly say that we need another 12 webinars going along. So I think that's quite a good thing for you to take on, saying, who wants us to do what? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and also with these webinars, what we're also trying to show too is, and gather feedback on, is how we build a more end-to-end solution going forward in 2021. And that comes from pre-sales to sales kits to how hardware and software work together, more comprehensive, more cohesive, and that goes all the way obviously to post-sales. So really that end-to-end solution is key for our products. Okay, moving on. A few success stories during 2020. Matthias.
Well, I mean, again, the biggest success was, I mean, we and our customers really could stay in contact and could do our business. For our customers, as Steve also mentioned earlier, sometimes it was even easier to fly in some crowded areas, airspace areas. But we had certainly also some, let's say, challenging deliveries like PAS deliveries into France and Belarus, where we did the training and installation with an online training, and it was successful. So I shouldn't maybe say this because usually we do it on site. So I hope our bosses are not listening too much in the details at the moment. And just skip our training efforts for next time. But I think this was again just a big success, and I was just very pleased to see that even in the difficult environment we can somehow be successful in the market.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with that. I think you mentioned before, Matthias, something about how we adapted and how the customers adapt. I think that's one classic case. That's what I think has been real successful. And you don't want to go on about the situation. You want to talk about how you come out of it and how you make things better. You know, I think I'll probably have to apologize to some of our very first customers in, you know, April, where they were the guinea pigs on, you know, and there was two that I remember that were government agencies that, you know, we physically could not go in there. You know, the kit had to be delivered. They hadn't seen this kit before. You know, look at our support team that have done an amazing job in, you know, US and Europe, how we managed to very quickly create a training schedule that was live with videos, with using all the new technology, having video cameras in the plane while they did an install. And yes, it took longer than normal. You know, if we'd have been in there, we probably could have done it in a day. You know, and this took 3 days of making sure they had the cables correct flow. But it all worked, and I agree with you, Matthias. You know, it's getting a lot smoother now, and I've seen some of Terry's and Lewis's programs on how they get kit delivered and installed remotely. It's not ideal. You know, obviously it is a lot quicker when you can get there and fly it, and it takes a bit longer. But I think that's successful, how the customers have adapted, how we've adapted, and we've still gone out there and seen customers, still speaking to their wishes, see if things are going. So, so then if we can turn it around, Matthias, and ask Phil a question of, have you got in your period now that you've been with us for a couple of months, what was your success story? So have you got a specific customer one or something like that that you had as a success?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, honestly, I've had some pretty amazing customers over the years in the drone industry and doing photogrammetry and imaging. I think one of the best was finalizing on a project with Caltrans, actually on the Motz side, that happened actually 3 years ago. 12 plus missions that we flew, and a lot of processing, and basically it allowed them to have a visual representation. They didn't need the accuracy as much, but they needed a true, obviously temporal visual representation of that mudslide out there on the California coastline. And then that allowed them to actually have a radar set up and see where velocity and displacement of any of that slide was moving, and kept them safe, and then did their initial planning. And so we finalized some of that earlier this year. Then the last thing, the other thing, of course, is joining this team and leveraging, honestly, my product management skills, my business development and sales skills here, and then my love for imaging and photography in general. So
that's cool. That's
yeah. So here's a new one for us all. I think many of you may have seen or heard about our big announcement earlier this week, and that's our Oblique product. Amazing comprehensive product that we've got that's came out. It's called the PAS 880, and we're wondering kind of what is the vision for this new product. And I'm going to ask that to both of you, and let's see which one's to.
Okay, well, I'll jump in quick because I know that you have a lot more to say on than I do. So I'll prompt some of the things. I think I'm also going back to how we've adapted. So I think the Oblique system we've got, which is, you know, it's our fantastic imagery and how we put it together with some good partners. We have listened all the way through the year of how we create something new to get a really quick return on investment. And I think the PAS 880 is the biggest thing we've done of really listening to customers, exactly what they want. You know, they don't want one system that does one thing, and that plane is dedicated to that, and they fly this. Yeah? And then they park that plane, and then they get another one and go through. A lot of people were saying, you know, the thing is changing. We're having to do something quick. So we need something more lightweight that we can take out of the plane and swap over to something else. We need to be able to use that system that can do corridor mapping. So we just want a nice, simple corridor map. And then the next day, we're then flying roughly the same area, but we need Oblique because we need smart cities, et cetera, et cetera. This is where I think our R&D team and then our production team have managed to get this through so quick with the right quality and the right data flow that we have created that this year. I am astounded at how well Phase One R&D and the product managers really listen to the customer. And we haven't stopped speaking to the customers. I know we're not there that often, so you know, we saw the Planix Open Day at the end of last year, where we did this quite a lot and speaking to them. We've still managed to do that. We've still managed to have meetings with our key customers, our opinion leaders, and I think this is all the way through. So this is through, you know, bespoke photography, cultural heritage, everything. So I know I've gone long-winded on not just the PAS 880 Oblique, which I think is going to be phenomenal for next year. I think it's really hitting a lot of people, and Matthias took the lead on how the sales will come in from you know, the web launch. That was a great job from our marketing team, but I just think that is how we do things in Phase One with customers as a partnership. Yeah,
Right, absolutely.
Matthias, yeah.
Matthias, anything on the 880?
I'm just thinking what you haven't mentioned so far. No, I mean,
Pretty much 99% of it.
yeah, it's 99% covered. It's great. Now, one thing is really the feedback we got so far since we have launched it on Tuesday this week. So within a few hours, we got leads in, we got requests in, we got congrats in even for this nice product. And I have to say it's really a nice product. It's a very nice, smooth design with perfect features and certainly our perfect cameras inside. And the feedback coming back to this was really just positive. It was only positive. We already sent out, I think now, today's Thursday, 5 or 6 quotes for the system. So from a commercial point of view, I can say in my career, it was the most successful product launch ever. I haven't seen this reaction from a market so far. So this is just purely positive, and I'm looking forward to 2021 to really see it flying with our customers and to make them successful with all these features Steve just mentioned, with flying large format, the next day Oblique, and the other day maybe a power line mapping project. So this is just a fantastic thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing our customers being successful.
Me too, me too.
Yeah. So speaking of looking forward to things in 2021, what are some of those exciting things that you guys?
I can jump in straight away, taking off from what Matthias said about the positive launch of the PAS 80. I'm very looking forward to Matthias buying me this that I got in advance for our bet that who would be the first one to sell the PAS 80. So I'll just send you the bill straight away for this, Matthias. Yeah.
I wouldn't be so sure about this. We have some very promising talks right now.
They still have power lines in cities in Europe.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot of use cases there for the Oblique. All right, just a couple. Go ahead, Matthias.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the last few fun questions here. Okay, just to wrap this up. What have you asked Santa for, Matthias? I see you. He sat on his lap yet.
I don't ask him many things. I'm happy if I'm healthy and my family is healthy. Maybe a nice bottle of red wine. But one thing which would be quite fantastic, I know Steve is a pretty enthusiastic supporter of Liverpool FC. and I'm in for Bayern Munich. So if I would see the Champions League final between Bayern and Liverpool, this would be a nice come together for us.
Oh, that would be amazing. And I can see another bet coming along here, Matthias, for me to win another bottle of whiskey. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good one. Do you know what? I'm going to put that on my Santa list too. That is pretty cool. I like that idea.
That would be good. For sure. Anything else from?
No, that's the top of my list now. I like that. I'm stealing Matthias's idea. Yeah.
Versus the socks or?
Yeah, no, definitely. Just yeah.
Okay. And then maybe I think everyone might want to know what your favorite drink is for the holidays, or maybe even throughout the year.
I think I've asked that a few times. For me, it's pretty obvious it's whiskey. As everyone knows, I am an Englishman, but I married into a very Scottish family, so I was forced to drink really good malt Scotch from an early age when I got married, and it's now in my veins, I think. Yeah.
Perfect. Matthias, it might be wine or possibly a German beer.
Yeah, since I'm German, I also like some beer sometimes, especially after sport. But my favorite is surely red wine. I also like some drinks like whiskey, gin tonic, Moscow Mule, and a few others.
So basically, anything that's alcoholic.
Anything to wind you down.
But what can I say?
We're all saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, let's move over. That kind of wraps up our chat, but now we're going to see what questions may have come through. So let's jump into those questions, and Tina will help us with that from behind the scenes.
Yes, well, I have to say that possibly we've covered everything because I haven't received any questions so far. So if there are questions from the audience, if you could ask them now, that would be great. But I think otherwise we've been very comprehensive on what we've discussed.
One of the things that we really want to do is obviously get people's requests in for the webinar, I think. For next year.
As a follow-up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. So if you come up with anything else, any questions, or you want to send in your remarks for webinars to come, we have Phil's email address on the screen now. So feel free to reach out at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. PMO@phaseone.com. I'll be happy to receive those emails and get follow up on what we'll do next with those. So let's see, that's pretty much it. We really appreciate everyone attending. We're excited to be here, excited for 2021. We wish you a wonderful and safe holiday and look forward to shared success in 2021.
Thank you very much, guys. Nice chatting to you as normal.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.
Thank you, Matthias.
Thank you. Ciao.